So, greetings everyone once again, and welcome to the 75th session of the online Optom Learning series. Let me introduce to you our speaker for today. So, today we have Mr. Pablo Chandra. Mr. Pablo finished his master's in optometry from the Bharatiya Vidyapeeth University, Pune in the year 2011. He has over more than 9 years of teaching experience as an academician, not only in India, but at certain various universities abroad as well. To name a few, he has been academician at the Lotus College of Optometry, Mumbai, the Vidyasagar College of Optometry, Kolkata, the University of Burmai, Oman, and currently he is associated with a few colleges in Calcutta. He has also published various research papers, one of it which is on the economic burden of diabetes in urban India, which is published in the Open Journal of Ophthalmology, and non-strabismus binocular vision anomalies in the Austin publications. And today, Mr. Pablo is going to talk to us about the basic insights of vision therapy and squint management. So welcome, sir. Welcome, Pablo, sir, onto
Thank
our.
you, thank you, thank you, Fakhruddin. Hello and good evening, all. How are you? I hope you are all fine wherever you are in this world. So today we will talk about a very basic topic of vision therapy and squint management. I will not go very deep into everything because I know there are in this platform only. I don't know how many of you attended. Many software-based learning has been done, and after this session also there will be done on squint management, vision therapy, and all these similar types of topic. But I will talk about the basic insight because I think sometimes what happens is when we are talking about very high fundu things, sometimes we forget the basic things. Okay, so I will talk definitely of some technical terms. I will introduce with you. Many of you have already, those, especially those who are working in hospital setup and those who are academician. They are. I am sure you are already. It will be a revision session for all of you because you already know those instruments which I will talk about and the topics which I will talk about. Okay, but still, those who are students, I think they will be benefited most. Those who are practicing in the optometry clinic and other working in the retail, for them also I hope it will you all will enjoy the session. I will try my level best. Okay, starting with it. So the question is, do you have any prior knowledge or experience with vision therapy? uh,
Yeah.
the results are clear on the screen. Yes, I practice vision therapy, it is 23%. Yes, I have learned of vision therapy but not practicing, 38%. And no, you have not learned about vision therapy, it is 40%. So 30 and 45, 40, it is almost coming 78%, those who actually either don't know or know but it is not practicing. And 12 of you, those who are already practicing vision therapy, for them I think you will enjoy the session. Yeah, you already know everything, but since you are practicing, but I think you will still enjoy the session. Since I will try my level best to make it little bit interesting. Okay, so let us start. Let's look at it. What is vision therapy? uh, I know a lot of you have got a lot of knowledge about vision therapy, but if you look at the technical definitions of vision therapy, okay, by American Association of Pediatric and Strabismus, it says that vision therapy is a term used by optometrists. Optometrists define vision therapy as an attempt to develop or improve visual skills and abilities, improve visual comfort, ease, and efficiency, and change visual processing or interpretation or visual information. So this is the definition, technical definition, which is given by the American Association of Pediatric and Strabismus. I will explain some of the terms, but let's read out the definition first, then I will go slowly. Okay. Now, according to the Australian College of Behavioral Science, what is vision therapy? It's a program aimed at remedying and enhancing an individual visual abilities, its function to treat existing visual problem such as amblyopia, eye alignment problem, eye coordination problem, poorly sustained near focus, inadequate eye hand coordination, immature perceptual development, enhance the efficiency and comfort of visual function, help prevent visual problems. So according to them, these are the things what vision therapy does. Now this is another definition. This definition is given by College of Optometrist and Vision Development. Optometric vision therapy is an individualized treatment program designed to improve overall visual function. So it tells us that it is designed to see that overall visual function and performance is developed. Okay, individual treatment is there, treatment program to design to overall visual function and performance. It is proven results and derived from vision based neurological and neuromuscular condition over time. It is a proven results. It's not something that you are treating many things, you are enhancing your visual skills and other things, that it is not a something which is not recognized. It is recognized. There are a lot of publications are there, there are a lot of research papers are there which says that actually vision therapy works, and we optometrists should proudly prescribe, learn about vision therapy. We should always recommend patient vision therapy, and we should talk about vision therapy in different platforms, because vision therapy is one of the specialty on optometrist where we can independently practice. Those who don't know what vision therapy is, for them I'm telling that it's individually practice, where you don't need an supervision, especially in countries like India, where you need, where at every point of time you have to take someone's, so you have to work under someone's supervision, or you can work. But this is a part where you this contact lens and after that low vision, these are the forte of optometrist, because here the optometrist can work and teach and do whatever they want confidently and independently. You don't need somebody to tell you, because you are the in charge of this. Okay, when provided by knowledgeable optometrists, vision therapy results in quantitative improvements in visual performing information processing skills, and perhaps more importantly an improvement in quality of life. This is very important, because we know whatever eye treatment option is there, it is there for treatment purpose, correct? If we are giving a glass, just a patient can see properly. We are giving a contact lens so that the patient can see properly, unless it's a cosmetic contact lens. We are giving a low vision aids, the patient who cannot see at all, for them to throw a ray of light to them. Okay, so but this is a treatment which is not only covers all these things which I said before, but it also is used to improve the quality of life, and also to decrease the symptoms and improve performance. So decreasing the symptoms and improving on performance is also there with vision therapy, which cannot be now. Now you can think that vision therapy is correcting about squint. Yes, it is correcting about squint. You can think that vision therapy is correcting about phoria, tropia. Yes, it does phoria and tropia. Then you can also say vision therapy can do a lot of things. Then how it is different from squint therapy? Now this, whenever I go to teach in the college or in a university or in any classroom program, normally those who are first time hearing about vision therapy, they normally ask this question: sir, we know you told us about squint therapy, giving glasses, giving prisms, doing surgery, so why we need a vision therapy? Now we need vision therapy not only to correct deviation which we can see from the eyes, but we can also correct deviation which we cannot see from eyes. That means I'm talking about the tropia. And also it can correct, we will come to the previous slide slowly, that it corrects a lot of symptoms of the patient. That's why vision therapy is so popular in country like India and also many developed countries, because it not only very, if you use vision therapy properly in your day-to-day practice, or if you are using a vision therapy practicing for a longer period of time, they can tell us much better that it works wonders for patient who, especially nowadays with the lockdown period is going in many countries. Previously we have finished lockdown over here in India, now it is coming to normal. We have learned one thing, that is online. Our lectures are online, our words are online, our everything is online, and with that we are developing a lot of symptoms. All of you, including me, you, everybody, we are developing a lot of symptoms related. We will talk that in later in the latest treatment thing. And to reduce those symptoms, vision therapy is an excellent thing. If you know, if you are very equipped, if you are very knowledgeable about it, if you study a lot of things, or if you know about it, then you can do miracles in this field. Okay, and there are obviously traditional visual field, as in contact lens also, as in low vision also, in every field, even in spectacle also, there are definitely some traditional and latest treatment models. But I will talk about today mostly on the traditional things, because latest there are a lot of softwares are there. Okay, and I think there are a lot of presentations are also going on regarding those software. So So vision therapy indications. So where the vision therapy is used, as in the picture you can see, it is used for ocular motility dysfunction, eye movement disorders. If there is any eye movement disorders, it can work very well. Vergence dysfunction means when there is a vergence problem. Inefficiency in using, that means inefficiency in using both eyes. When you want to use both eyes together, you are having a problem. Either you have a symptom, either you don't have a symptom, but you have a major problem in seeing. That means binocular vision is getting hampered. Strabismus, if you have a strabismus misalignment. Amblyopia, it works wonder in amblyopia. Currently there are many researchers going, many people are doing PhD on this amblyopia, especially vision therapy, different types of vision therapy, how it corrects amblyopia. We can discuss this in later, in even in a single presentation we can have the latest treatment of amblyopia. Accommodative disorders, while focusing, when we are changing our focus or we are focusing the near things, we normally have a lot of problem which can be corrected by vision therapy. Visual information processing disorders, when the visual information is going and it is processing and it is for them, that means visual sensory and motor integration, there is a problem. And obviously visual rehabilitation after traumatic brain injury. How many of you have seen October? I think most of you have seen the Hindi film October, right? In October, it shows after a traumatic brain injury, how a patient is brought to its normal. So these type of, there are also after traumatic injury, visual rehabilitation is also there. No, other than the body rehabilitation, eye rehabilitation is also there. And these type of visual rehabilitations are very important, especially when a patient is recovering from stroke. Okay, so these type of vision therapy things do wonders. Now let's come to see data, what the data says. According to American Optometry Association, 35 to 40% of all children with learning disabilities have visual problems. Those who have learning abilities, they have vision problem, about 35 to 40. Especially at least 20% of individuals with learning disabilities have been found to have prominent visual information processing problem, and 15 to 20% of them have problems with visual efficiency skill, and 15 to 20% of them has got vision efficiency skills problem. Now, why we require vision therapy? I was talking this in the previous slides. Now also I am telling you that it works wonders, especially when you have an asthenopic symptoms like eye strain, headache, unable to concentrate, especially when you are working in the monitor for longer period of time, you are unable to concentrate and you cannot see properly. Errors such as loss of place or reversal when reading or writing. When you are doing reading or writing, you are not following the pattern, dyslexia type of things, and a lot of things are there where you can, vision therapy works wonders. Now if we come to the types of vision therapy, there are two types of vision therapy. Okay, one, when you are using the conscious involvement of the patient. Okay, when a patient visual performance can be improved by conscious involvement in sequence controlled visual tasks, it is known as active therapy. Passive therapy is patient experience a change in visual stimulation without any conscious effort. Means patient is not giving an effort, but it is changing experience. Patient experience is changing. So that is comes under passive. So there are two types. When the patient conscious involvement is using, we are using, and we are giving a treatment, it is known as active therapy. And passive is when the patient consciously patient is not doing, but thing is going into the patient. There are another different types of vision therapy. Vision therapy is something which patient you can give it at home also. Other than other thing, you can normally give everything to patients to the home. Like you do a refraction, you prescribe the glasses. You don't do anything, you just do the refraction. But the glasses patient has to use that at home, right? Just you do the investigation and leave. But here there is an office-based treatment policy also. You can use it. Means you can use your office for vision therapy treatment just to see how much the patient, whether the patient is doing correctly the treatment, whether the patient is following the protocol, whether the patient is doing correctly or not. And when you think the patient is very confident, you can give some home-based exercise also just to monitor whether the patient is doing well or not. Now, how to implement? Now, especially if you, in the slides you have seen, there are a lot of children are there. Okay, it is not that I am saying that vision therapy is only given to children. There are a lot of myths about this. The vision therapy is only given to children, but vision therapy works wonders for adults also. Okay, but most of the vision therapy patients are children. You have to take that. Okay, proper diagnosis of the conditions is very important. Now the first thing how you implement is the vision therapy, proper diagnosis, whether the patient has a convergence insufficiency, whether the patient has a divergence insufficiency, whether there is a convergence excess, whether there is a divergence. So what is the problem, whether there is accommodative insufficiency. So your orthoptic workup gives you very well. If your orthoptics understanding about what type of vision therapy you will give to the patient. Because if you are doing a orthoptic workup very good, if you are doing the what and you are coming to a conclusion, okay, this patient has got a accommodative problem, so exactly you know what are the instruments you will use. Although the time is very short in this presentation, I am not able to use all the instrument and explain all the instrument. I just used 2 or 3 or 4, but there are huge number of instruments, especially if you are not using a software, if you are using manual instruments. So what happens is, you can it just go in your mind and you know this patient is having an accommodative problem and I will use this type of instruments. Okay, start with the basic plan, slowly increase the therapy based on the patient condition. First, start with the basic thing, because vision therapy is a type of eye exercise. As you can read as I have read the definitions for you, you can understand that. So if exercise, first day if you go to the gym, suppose you think, and the trainer give you heavy metal and other thing, what you will do? First day you will use it, you will have lot of pain, and next day you will not go to the gym, right? Because gym is not mandatory for you. You just go there with the purpose of either losing weight, either making your muscles, putting your body in proper shape. But first day only you are having too much of problem, will you go? You will not go. So what is there? It is always better to start with the basic plan and slowly and give ample opportunity for the patient to understand and settle down with the therapy. So you give that space to the patient so that the patient understand what he is doing, he is getting involved and he's working. So other than that, don't push. Sometimes what happens, because you have too many patients, one patient you are working, another patient is waiting outside. Sometimes as a clinician also, I sometimes think, sometimes we push, okay, you do this, you are attending another patient. Don't give that space to the patient so that patient has the understanding, settle down with the therapy and work very well. Ask the patient to stop and repeat the procedure. Sometimes what happens, suppose you are giving base out therapy but the patient is doing in the base in, so it will just have an opposite effect. So what you have to do, you have to first tell the patient to stop, and you have to show it how you are doing in front of that. So what happens, either you are giving a convergence insufficiency treatment, but the patient is doing just the opposite. So you have total different results. So sometimes you need to stop and ask, because patient is a layman term, they don't understand this terminology, they don't understand how to do these treatments. So you have to not only learn, you have to check whether the patient is doing properly. If the patient is not doing properly, ask the patient to stop and start again and explain where is he making the mistake. Okay, so don't get rude or don't get overexcited and talk to this, because this time suppose you are dealing with as I told you, there are very small kids comes with this type of problem, and sometimes you got very angry other than getting calm. So what happens, the patient dropout can happen. So you have to be very patient, maintain patient interest in the treatment. So you have to maintain the interest of the patient in the treatment, otherwise you will not harm. Previous week of therapy should be reviewed by the therapist. Suppose 1 week you give the therapy, you did office therapy, you give home therapy, and the patient is coming next week. So you should review how much it has done, whether they are doing it properly in the house, what is the there. Maybe you can take the readings again of the measurements of the squint and the phoreatropia and the convergence, divergence, whatever you want, and check whether it is improving, slight improvement is there, or the patient is doing properly. So review is very much important. Recheck the procedure again and again, whether it is done in correct sequence or not. You have to understand here the sequence is very important. As I told you, if you are giving convergence but the patient is doing divergence expresses, the result will not come, it will worsen. So you have to recheck the procedure again and again to find out the correct sequence. Give maximum 2 to 3 therapy to facilitate better for patient. Don't give at a time too many, 7-10 therapies you are giving, so patient will cloud up. So it is better always to give 2 to 3 therapy to facilitate better for the patient. Both verbal and written instruction should be given to the patient. Both verbal, you should tell the patient, and you should write it down for the patient, so that if the patient forgets, so he can see what you are telling. Especially it is very good for the home treatment. Okay, office-based treatment should not be done. This is a very important thing. Office-based treatment should not be done at home, and home-based treatment should not be done at office. If you are doing opposite, then there can be a problem. Okay, so this you have to, as a therapist or as a vision therapy practitioner, you have to be very careful for it. Successful roads for vision therapy. Now, what are the success to get vision therapy? As I told you, your patients is more important than the patient's patients. Your coordination and help is very much important. Otherwise, it will not show, or many times it has shown you are giving therapy after therapy, therapy after therapy, you are doing it in the correct sense, but it is not showing because patient is not interested, patient is not involved. So all these things, success story to get vision therapy, although it's very interesting, at the same point of time, if we are not getting interested, if we are not able to make patient feel interested, these things will not happen. Successful coordination of motor and sensory coordination. So there should be successful coordination of motor and sensory. Selection of active vision procedure is vital for reaching successful goal. So active vision procedure, so what are the procedure is going, selection is very important for reaching a successful goal. Do not pre-select a procedure or instrument for a diagnosis and treatment. Suppose I will tell you, a RAF rule we normally give to see convergence, right? Suppose convergence there is, and cat also we give. Suppose there is a convergence insufficiency, what we do? Okay, convergence give cat. So it is not that, there are other instruments also is there other than the cat where we can use for convergence, so we can use that. So please do not premeditate and pre-select, okay, I will give this instrument also. Try with 2 or 3 things, then come to a basic plan, and then slowly go to the final and the advanced stage when you see the improvement is going, and then you go. Transfer of learned visual skills into real world activity is the main goal of therapists. The last point is very important. Whatever you are treating the patients, or whatever visual skills you are treating to the patients, patient should be able to use that visual skills in their real life. If the patient cannot use that real skills in their real life, your work is wasted. You have to make sure that the patient use this therapy for their real world. Now there is another poll. What is the average time of vision therapy exercise for patients?
You can see that the majority of them think that the exercise session or the vision therapy session should be about 15 to 20 minutes, and the next would be 30 to 60 minutes. About 42% of them think like that. 5% of them are quite unsure, and about 9% of them says 90 to 120 minutes. So this is a kind of results we have.
Thank you for voting. We will discuss these results, and I will explain why I am saying this. Okay, we normally start with 30 to 60 minutes. Okay, why? Because if we start with 15 to 20 minutes, the effect don't come. And if we normally start with 30, then slowly 45 minutes, then we slowly 60. So the range starts within 30 to 60 according to the standard. This is not I'm telling from my personal experience or anything. Okay, this is given in the authenticated research journal. From there I'm talking. So they say that 30 to 60 seconds, and I'm sure most of the practitioner will also agree with it, because what happens is if you give for a lower seconds, many people, as you can say 15 to 20 minutes, they think, why? Because as I am always telling that you should settle down first, that's why maybe people are thinking 15 to 20 minutes is okay. But sometimes what happens is, if your patient is not getting that much treatment properly, suppose you are giving 3, right, maximum 3 they're told. Now when the research is saying maximum you can start with 3, now if you are using 3 and you are giving only 20 minutes, so how much is that each instruments are getting? Is they are getting the proper time? No. But if you are using 3 for 30 minutes, that means you are using one instrument for at least 10 minutes. So that instrument effect actually should go to the eyes, and that will show in your results, whether your squint correction or your symptom correction is there after 2 to 3 weeks of treatment. Okay, total duration of treatment, some people say here there is little bit depend on the patient age, attention span, time availability. Okay, in some research paper they say it depends upon condition to condition. If it is a very suppression at a very high stage, you need to give treatment for a longer duration of time, or you have to start with another treatment, then you have to come for a proper thing. Or if there is any diplopia thing, or if any severe convergence insufficiency patients, it takes longer period of time. Again, dependent, it is total duration of treatment is dependent on patient age. Definitely it depends on the patient age, attention span, time availability, and also the severity of the condition. Okay, you have to understand this, otherwise it does not show that. Now Another very important thing here, I have given the picture of this child, is encouragement is very important. What I want to say is encouragement or encouraging the patient. I told you first in the first slide, especially for the children, because giving break in sessions in different parts to gain attention of the children. Okay, you can give breaks, you can talk to them. Okay, what you do in your house, what are the, who are there in your house, what are the things just to make the patient involved. Otherwise you will have a lot of dropouts for the vision therapy treatment. Okay, make sure the patient is not losing interest in the in the activity, so the patient don't have any, not losing the interest, so patient is not feeling it too boring. Okay, so patient is feeling it very interesting. And you should also give reward system. You can give a certificate, or you can give a toffee, you can give a chocolate, you can give whatever thing, reward system, so that the patient actually tells you what are the things are there. Now different conditions we will come. Okay, we will talk about different conditions, which are the different conditions can be treated with different vision therapy technique. Accommodative therapy, improvement can be done for amplitude facility, sustainability, reducing response can be done through heart chart, loose minus lens rock test, lens flipper test, split pupil rock test, Brock-String state, Brock-String. I think all of you know what Brock-String is. If you don't know, then also I will tell you. And computer vision therapy. Now heart chart. Heart chart is a chart which looks like this. Those who don't know, for them I am telling, these are the procedures which are written in the slide, but let me explain the picture. There is a chart for distance, there is a chart for the near. So what you have to do, you have to place this chart, as you can see in the slide, it is written over here 3 meter away, and the near chart should be for 40 centimeter away. Start by reading louder the first letter on the distance chart. Move your focus to the first letter on the near chart. So you read the first letter on the distance, then you move your letter to the near chart. Make sure it is clear and single, and read it loud. So make sure it is clear and single, then read it loud. This is for the patient. Okay, shift to the second letter number on the distance chart, saying it loud when it is clear and single. Keep shifting the distance and near chart until you finished all the letters. So you have to focus over here, focus over here, focus over here, focus over here. So you have to change it and read it loud. Once as an examiner, once you see patient is doing this very well, then you can tell them not to read it in your mind, and you can just follow. But for the first day, 2 days, 3 days, you need to tell the patient to read it loud, so that you understand how what is doing. Complete five rounds of this cycle 3 times per day. When you are proficient at having the near chart at 40 centimeter, your optometrist, means you, will recommend you to move the chart closer to 30 centimeter, then finally to the 20 centimeter. Then, so you can see here, first you need to check 40 centimeter, then you need to check it, bring it close to 20 centimeter, then to 30 centimeter, then to 20 centimeter, so that it works well. This is how you do the heart chart. As you can see, this is done for many accommodative exercises. Okay, you need to have it in 40 centimeters. Slowly you can bring it closer. So you have to read one letter from here and one letter over there. Loose minus rock test. This is again, you have binocular and monocular phenomena. So for the binocular, again, to restore normal accommodative amplitude and facility, you can use it. Age appropriate reading material or varying print size you can use. You can use varying print size from 20 to 80 centimeter to 20 to 30. Uncut plastic lens blank, -6 to +2.5 into 0.25 diameter increment. Accommodative hopping cards eye patch can be used to close the other eye, and you have to check the patient to change the focus by using different lens in front of the patient. Working distance is 40 centimeter. So there are two, level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is occlude the patient's left eye and ask him or her to follow the instructions on the accommodative hopping card held at 40 centimeter through a plus lens and minus lens that are alternately held in front of the office or her eye. So you have to put at 40 centimeter and you have to change the lens plus and minus and ask the patient, and a patient is asked to clear the target. So you have to ask the patient to clear this target. Patient is asked to regain the clarity as quickly as possible and complete the task. Patient should be end point where you stop this. Patient should be able to achieve the value of half of the amplitude of accommodation as per his age. As per his age, the whatever the amplitude of accommodation should be there, it is basically done to increase the amplitude of accommodation. So half of it, the patient should be able to do. For youngsters, they will be expected to achieve +2.5 to -6 diopter with speed. So when you are changing the plus and minus lens and you are asking the patient to clear it one by one. Okay, so until can they lens flipper, I think most of you have seen what lens flipper is. This is what is called a lens flipper. Here similar type of lens are there. Those who are looking for the first time, I'm explaining this instrument. If here it is +2, here it is -2, here it is +2, here it is -2. What you do, you put plus and minus, and you ask the patient to read. As you can see here, it is written in the slides, +2 -2 pairs of lenses into the flipper, devises 2 lenses on each side. The patient wear his distance correction. He wear the distance correction. Ask him to hold the test in his non-dominant hand. First you can do it, and then ask the patient to hold it, and patient can do it on your own. You hold the flipper device in your dominant eye. You can hold the patient device in have the room well illuminated. It should be well illuminated. The test measure how many words can patient read in 1 minute by flipping the flipper. So in 1 minute, how many words can plus minus, and how many words the patient is reading. So you have to measure that. By pressing the start, the test will begin measuring 60 seconds. So within 60 seconds, how many cycles patient complete, or how many words patient is reading. You put flippers with plus lens in front of his eye and ask to him to report the word written. As soon as he read it, he is instructed to slide the page and get another word. Meanwhile, you flip the flipper from plus to minus. So whenever a patient is reading one word, change the book and ask the patient to look at another word, and you flip the flipper. He is instructed to read the word again. Do this as long as 60 seconds. When the test finishes, the test will give you the results, how many words the patient has read in first and second 30 seconds. So you divide the results in first 30 seconds and second 30 seconds. Split pupil minus rock test. Here it is used with heart chart or a Marsden ball. Marsden ball is one thing which is used most commonly in sports vision. Okay, eye patch, unfortunately I don't have a picture for Marsden ball, otherwise I could have shown you. Next time I will try to show you. I have it in but I forget to put it over here. So eye patch minus trial lens key points. This technique develops an even more subtle control of accommodation. So this actually tells you to give more control on the accommodation than loose lens sorting technique. Rather than changing the lens, it gives more accommodation control. And if the patient did not notice SILO in the MAR, this technique should help the patient perceive its goals. Now, instrument used for vision therapy. Now, which are the instrument used? Now, for fusional Vergence therapy, we use anaggraph, Polaroid liquid crystal, variable tanagraph, variable vectograph, non-variable tanagraph, computerized vision therapy. I will come to this, each one of them to explain. Okay, lens, prism, mirrors, flip prisms, loose prisms, septa, aperture ruler, and modified Remis evaporator. Now, fusional vision therapies. If we want to increase the fusional vision therapy, what are the things we will do? So objective of fusional vision therapy is, what we will try to do is, we will try to increase the objective of negative fusional Vergence and positive fusional Vergence. We will try to increase the negative fusional Vergence and positive fusional Vergence, decrease the latency of fusional Vergence response, increase the velocity of fusional Vergence. So this is the goal for fusional Vergence. Now, tanagraph and vectogram. Tanagraph and vectograms are vision therapy materials based on red, green, or polarized target, respectively, that used similar but slightly different image for each eye to train fusion and Vergence skills. So these are the things. I will come to tanagraph and vectograph in the coming slide, and I will explain it in much detail. As you can see, tanagraph and anagraph and tanagraph, these are training methods using complementary colored drawing or photographs to be viewed through the filters of same color, one of each eye. Suppose tanagraph, anagraph normally comes with red, green. As you can see here, red, green materials are most commonly used as anagraphic filter. Tanagraph is the name of series of red, green anagraphic target used for vision therapy. Two related nearly identical image, one red, one green, are printed on rigid vinyl sheets and are viewed through red-green filters. The red filters eyes see the green only, and green filtered eyes see the red only. I will show you. Now these are called tanagraphs. One is on green, one is on red. You put it side by side and you can perform Vergence. Can you see the mark over here? There is mark. So here you get the scale for base in and base out effect. So how much patient can fuse when you are changing the base in and base out effects tells you about that. Understood? So base in base out effect, Vargens effect can be created through tanagraph. Ask the patient to see where the red green goggles, which you can see in the screen, and you slowly change it and tell whether you can see the single or you cannot see. When the patient can fuse it together and can see it, that means you can see the rabbit, and rabbit is holding one book. Here you can see another picture, so almost similar pictures are there and you have to make it, and these are for the vectogram. Now vectogram are, I will not read in the entire thing because it becomes very boring. Vectogram and tanagraph anagraph are mostly the same. Just in vectogram, we used a polarized stereogram and we used polarized filter. Understood? So what happens with the polarized? Those who are very comfortable with the polarized polarization concept, how polarized spectacle works, they know better. That consists of two photographic images which are viewed through a pair of polarized filter, and these two pictures are maintained at an axis of 45 degree and 135 degree to each other, so that one image is seen by the right eye and the other image is seen by the left eye. So one image can be seen by the right eye, the other image can be seen by the left eye. Although vectogram may be used for various types of therapy, they are mostly useful for patient whose sensory fusion is normal but who are in need of motor training. So those who are need in motor training, and this point is very important, okay, they are mostly useful for patient whose sensory fusion is normal but their motor needs practice. For them vectogram is very good. So these are the vectographic slides. You can see normally you can wear a polarized glasses and you can tell and ask the patient to superimpose it. Now this is another anti-suppression exercise which is known as stereoscope. Now this stereoscope is an orthoptic instrument that uses a method of drawing and eliminate suppression and enhance sensomotor fusion. So what happens, I will not read everything, I will just tell you. Here, from here the patient, you can see this is an instrument. Here you can you see one slide, and here there is one slide. So patient normally views from here, patient normally views here, and patient normally try to draw here. Or there are different types of exercise you can give. You can put something here and ask the patient to do here. You can do something. So why this is used? Just to improve the suppression. Stereoscope is basically used to negate lot of even very bad suppression condition where is there very deep suppression is there. For them also stereoscope can be used. Patient either colors the picture or traces its outline. As you can see, the picture viewed in a mirror by one eye cortically projected onto the drawing surface visible to the fellow eye. The patient either colors the picture, traces its outline, dominant eye fixate the picture, so the dominant eye will fixate the picture and the suppressing eye will be views the portion drawn. So dominant eye will fixate the picture and start drawing, and the suppressing eye will view the portion drawn. So whatever is drawn, they can see it from the suppressing eye. The goal is for patient to be able to see both the target and the drawing simultaneously. One eye you give the target, another eye you ask the patient to draw. So with that target and the drawing, you can negate the suppression. Again, there is aperture rule. Now let me introduce this instrument. This instrument, there are two pictures, okay, and there are two types of aperture. Okay, here you can see there are two aperture, here there is one aperture. In the slide you can see it is written, when a single aperture is used, the visual axis cross at distance closer than the viewed targets, thus creating a base out. Just you have to remember this. For distance it is base out effect, for near it is base in effect. For single aperture it is base out effect, for double aperture it is base in effect. So when we are using a double aperture, we are making a base in effect. When we are using a single aperture, we are using a base out effect. For double aperture we are using base in effect, for single aperture we are using base out effect. Okay, so you have to remember this very well to use this. So when you are using base in and base out, best thing about vision therapy instrument is that it is not possible to remember all the instrument principles and where and how to use it and use it. So best thing I have seen in many vision therapy clinics is where they do the instrument or where they put the instrument, they put it how to use it, so that the therapist and those who is doing the therapy, they can understand how they are using and how those are things. So all these things in layman language, if you put it where you are putting the instrument, where the patient will come and do the experiment exercise, so if you write it how to do it and how they will do, so they already know. So for day one is, suppose you are explaining how to use the aperture tool, okay, or you are telling how to draw a picture on stereoscope by following the drawing, how to draw the diagram. So day one he will do it, day two he will do it, day three, before your suppose he is drawing, okay, but he forgets, he can see the writing which is there. As I told you, there should be verbal and written consent, written instructions also. So when they see the drawing, okay, sir told me like this, my therapist told me like this, I'm doing it in the wrong way, so I can correct it. So he knows when to use a double aperture, when to use a single aperture, okay. So single aperture will always give base out effect, double aperture will always give base in effect, okay. This you can write it in the paper, so it will be easy for you also, so you will easy for the patient also. So once, because yeah, as an optometrist, what we are think about, we are more knows about divergence and convergence, okay. So when to use single and double aperture, sometimes you may also in front of the patient you can think, oh, which is there. So it's better to write it in that over there, so you also remember that this is there. Those who are very experienced, they will not do it, but the student who are doing it in the hospital, or the most of the hospital or most of the clinic, they use it in this process. I have seen them using. This is another for the fusion purpose. This is not very common, but it is used in many clinics. This is again lifesaver card. There are a lot of cards actually. There are convergence cards, as you know, there is cat card. These life-saving cards are also used. You can see here there are different types of cards like transparent and fixed. They are used for different version skills practice. So this type of skills can be there. Now anti-suppression exercises, as I told you, there is stereoscope, there is bar reader, there is TV trainer, there is red-green glass pencil test, vertical mirror dissociation, mirror superimposition. All these things can be used for anti-suppression exercise. So before I go to amblyopia, I have one, although I will not talk about the big thing about amblyopia, just I want to see how many of you know about how do you manage your patient with amblyopia. We are almost come to the last phase of our presentation or lecture or discussion, whatever you know.
Majority 51%, 28 of the 55 attendees, what I see here, have voted that they, prescribe patching and vision therapy. And there is about 26 over 55, 47% go ahead with patching and glasses and no vision therapy, to be precise. And somebody did say that they only do vision therapy, they only do patching, and a couple of them just leave them alone as well.
Okay. So I will discuss this again. I will discuss this result. Let me start. Vision therapy for amblyopia. What are the vision therapy we give for amblyopia? We know, basically all of us, we know. Those who don't know, I'm telling you, we give glasses as well as patching, which is very common, but we also can give vision therapy for amblyopia. The slide, the name which you are giving, I'm not explaining each one and every, for explaining which is how it is used. We can take another session on amblyopia of vision therapy, but these are play optics, near activities, active stimulation therapy for cam stimulator, phototherapy, perceptual learning, and binocular stimulation. Many more are there. You can say you have not given much, so many more are there you can give. And especially with the advent of the computerized vision therapy, the amblyopia treatment has become very fun. Since I have not covered much about computer vision therapy, because what happens with the computer vision therapy, the children especially, with the manual, because suppose I am giving tanagraph, anagraph, you just need to fuse, patient need to sit over here and he has to look at, so it becomes tiring. This can pain, this can pain. Suppose he is doing stereoscope, it can pain. But with the computer is saying, they seem that they are playing a game, so it works very fast. All this treatment can be given, and this is it. So my answer for this is, you can use, if the patient is having a glasses, you definitely need to give the glasses. You can also give patching at the same point of time. When the patient is coming to you, you can give vision therapy. So all three of you, if you can give glasses, patching, and vision therapy, it will be very nice. Thank you all. I don't know how was my lecture, but I have tried my best of imparting whatever I know in vision therapy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for putting up this talk. Very comprehensive talk, as I must say, in terms
I
of,
have not gone into the details of each instruments or each thing or each about.
while the questions are pouring in, just wanted to highlight, because you did mention that vision therapy is something which we can do, and I think your talk was more focused on how we can do vision therapy in normal setups also. I mean, these kind of small instruments are easily available. I'm not saying that they are quite expensive. They are relatively inexpensive in terms of costing. You can definitely start vision therapy anywhere by knowing how to use this basic instrument. That's what I would like to highlight.
One
Correct me.
instrument I didn't talk, that is the Brock string, which when every optometry school can meet, and they can use it any point. You don't need to buy a Barnell set of for Brock string. You can make it at your home also. Okay.
That's right. So the idea behind this session was to just let people know that vision therapy is something which can be done, and you don't need that sophisticated instrument. Of course, sophisticated instruments, computer-based systems are definitely giving you better results, but you have to start somewhere, right? I mean, just by using a simple heart chart and give accommodation exercises, giving Brock string for convergence and divergence and all that should be a way ahead. Great. So I'm just going to take some questions here, sir. And the first question is, can we do heart chart for a distance of 4 meter or 6 meter or for 3 meters? Because somebody is
Normally, according to the whatever is given in the heart chart, normally we do it at 4 meter. Okay. The near heart chart which is there, which that we can change. First we do it from 40 centimeter, then we bring it to 30, then we bring it to 20. But distance we maintain that 4 meter is better for us. 6 meter I have not seen, but 4 meter normally I have done on 4 meter. I have not seen many people using 3 meter. Even on heart chart booklet by Barnell, they have also mentioned that it should be used from 4 meter distance.
okay, great. And I think with the testing distance changes, it will also change the how
Value, yeah.
efficiency probably, and also the way you strategize your test. So you are making it more difficult or making it more easy if you are also changing the distance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is again very interesting question. How should we identify patients who initially require vision therapy? How do
Very
we
good
go?
question. Very good question. How we initially identify, one is, see, one, there are different things. One is the symptom based treatment. Patient is having symptom coming to you and you are doing the symptom, that is known as non-strabismic binocular vision anomalies. Okay. And you are doing that. There can be symptom, there can be not be symptomless. Another is patient has come for a general eye clinic to you. You don't need lot of things to check. You can only take a pencil and you can tell how much is his convergence and divergence. You don't need a RAF rule. Suppose you don't have a RAF rule where the clinic, suppose you are coming to my clinic. I don't have so much of instruments in my clinic, but with the pencil or with the pen tip you can understand how much is the convergence and divergence. Suppose patient don't have a symptom, but you can understand the convergence is less, or you are just checking the NRA and PRA. NRA and PRA you can check with plus lens and minus lens, and you can understand the patient is having an accommodative problem although he don't have a symptom. In those patients you need to talk to the patient, because without any symptoms what happens is the patient normally thinks the doctor is trying to be very honest, doctor is trying to fool me and trying to take money. I don't have any problem, why I have to go for the therapy? Okay, but you have to explain that patient what is your work. Suppose patient say I am an IT professional, I just came for a normal eye checkup, I don't have any problem, but after checking you found there is a problem in convergence, there is a problem in accommodation, and there is problem in many other things, even in virgins also. So you have to talk to the patient although you don't have a symptom, but previously you can have a symptom and you will not understand even a symptom, you will start having squint. So you have to explain the patient what is the condition, and then you have to start with and take the patient proper consent, take into the confidence of the patient. That's why I am telling again and again, patient interest is very important. Your patient and patient interest, this is very important for vision therapy. Otherwise, although you can have 4 lakh, 5 lakh INR instrument, but it will lie like a garage. Patient will not come and use your instrument. It is all your skill. Instruments, whatever instruments you have in your clinic, it will not be used until and unless you are motivated to do that. I have seen many people, those who are very busy, when to leave the patient for the optical people just to do the dispensing, but they are not doing the main checkup which is supposed to do. Only you do the 6x6 checkup with changing different types of lens, doing retinoscopy or autoref. Okay, everything is okay, you can go. But doing a cover test, uncovered test, doing cover test for near, doing NPC, doing NPA, doing NRA, PRA if it is required, or if you have a prism bar, doing NFB, PFB, if you can do all these things, you get a lot of data. So you are actually understanding what problem is there. And patient will also feel good. Why? Patient will think, doctor is giving me more time to check my eyes. He's just not uh, treating me as a customer just to sell spectacle. He's taking care of me. So after that, when you talk to the patient, you will find. So how you identify that? When you test the patient. Until and unless you don't test, like corona positive, how you know? When you do a test. Until and unless you don't do a corona test, you know it's a normal fever, flu like fever. Same thing, you have to do the examinations properly in your normal clinical setup. Then only you will understand whether this patient needs therapy or not. Is that answer okay?
Yes, I think you covered it well. First thing is the symptomatic patients, of course, you can definitely get it. And even if the patient is asymptomatic, doing preliminary tests such as what you mentioned, the convergence test, the accommodation test, the fusional vergence test, these are something which is very basic and it can be done with your normal trial lens set. You don't need sophisticated instruments to test it. If you have done that and you have related those test findings, that should help you to identify the patients as well. There is some connecting question with this. Is there only binocular vision problems which can be treated, or any other problems which you would like to tell us which can benefit with vision therapy? Such as somebody has asked about learning disability. Any experience
Yeah.
on using vision therapy for learning disability?
Learning disabilities, I told you in the slides also. Learning disabilities, uh, and lot of things actually. Visual rehabilitation can also be, some types of visual rehabilitation works wonder with vision therapy, especially after traumatic brain injury. Sports vision, sports vision is one thing. Like as I told you, I was supposed to put a picture of Marsden ball. Marsden ball is used for sports vision. We have in India few clinics, uh, and internationally we have many clinic for sports vision. It actually increases the eye hand coordination and other visual skills. So these vision therapy, these things, learning disabilities, you can give different types of exercise just to, I think all of you have seen Tare Zameen Pe, right? All of you are, it's an international movie now. It is a wonderful movie. It has shown of a boy who has got real problem of learning and reading disability, and how his teacher has worked. That is a practical example, worked upon him. Although as an optometrist there are different sides of treatment procedures, but that they have tried to generalize it and shown how they have worked it just to improve it, rather than just saying that nothing will happen to the patient. So if you can talk to the patient and explain the patient, then you can understand what other things can happen.
Okay, great. And this is related to amblyopia. And can we occlude the best eye according to the age ratio in terms of occlusion therapy in amblyopia? Any experience in terms of reversal
Again, this is
amblyopia?
actually depend upon the therapist. Okay, which eye you will occlude and which eye you will ignore, whether you will occlude the bad eye or the good eye, it depends upon the condition. Suppose you have an eccentric fixation amblyopia, understood? So what you will do, first your foremost treatment will be to remove the eccentric point from the eye and make it centric. So in that case you will close the bad eye, because bad eye, and give therapy to make thus from eccentric fixation to centric fixation. Once that is done, then you train the centric fixation to use it for the nail line. So it depends upon what is the condition associated with the amblyopia, what is the stage of the amblyopia. Then only do you decide what is the, whether you will occlude the good eye or the bad eye.
Okay. And any experience in terms of reversal of amblyopia, reversal of
Yeah,
vision?
just now I saw a question. Reversal of amblyopia. Yes, reversal of amblyopia sometimes happen if you are leaving the patient in between. This is a pure case if you are not giving or the patient is leaving the vision therapy. Suppose you are giving a pleoptic phenomena treatment or head injury brush or anything, but after few sessions patients think this is of no use, I will not come from the therapy. Definitely there will be reversal, and most of the reversal happens because of that. If you see the data, most of the reversal happen because of that. But successful amblyopia, there is another thing which I actually didn't find time to speak about. After the therapy is completed, after the divergence values, convergence values, divergence values, accommodation values becomes normal, you don't only leave the patient, you follow up the patient over a period of time. Why this follow up is very important? Because this follow up tells you where after correction whether these values are again going back to its original problem. I remember when I and Fakhruddin used to work, we got a patient of in 10 years ago in Lotus, we got a patient of, I will share an experience of pilot of Indigo driver. He has high level of phobia and he was told discontinue for flying, because for a pilots if you have phobia they will not allow it for flying. And fortunately that patient become Bengali, so he can speak Bengali very well. So everybody told me you go and treat with the patient, talk to that patient. So in Mumbai that time, so I had a very good rapport with the patient and I treat the patient well. So once after every 2 weeks we had a evaluation, orthoptic evaluation, how the therapy was going. Therapy was going very well. After 4 weeks his phobia was absolutely normal. So when he gave the test, he got the flying license, but it was written in the flying license, I remember, it is the values are normal for today. After 1 week, even if the phobia values goes back, then again you will be fit for non-approach. So that's why what I did is, I remember I gave him a Brock string and some cat card to him in his house so that he can practice at home. Okay, so this type of reversal sometimes happen. So you have to do proper follow-up, not only in amblyopia but also in normal vergence values and things also it happens.
Yeah, so you have to maintain that and slowly taper it down probably.
Yes,
And
very important thing what Fakhruddin told, tapering, because you cannot stop the suppose you are doing and tomorrow say, oh, tomorrow you don't have to come. You have to increase it slowly slowly, you have to taper it slowly slowly and stop and follow up. These three things are very important.
really important. Yeah, and as we improve the difficulty level, we have to reduce the difficulty level
Yes,
step by step. That is tapering to maintain and see whether it's sustainable. That's what we want. We don't want to correct it temporarily. We want something which is sustainable. So it's really important, and thank you for answering that on amblyopia. But what do you think is the recommended time in terms of patching or vision therapy for amblyopia? You did mention that vision therapy 30 to 60 minutes is kind of good. How about patching? What's your experience on prescribing patching time?
can we
In
give
terms,
patching or vision therapy at a particular time for those patient who is suffering from amblyopia? Mm, there are a lot of research on this, which is the correct time to patch. Okay, some research says that patching for a children during the school hours are very good. That's why in India, if you go for a school screen checkup, how many of you go? I have not seen. You will see a lot of people coming with the normal patch in their eye. Why? In the school, why there? They could have done it in the home, because doctor has told, because in the school they use the mode of distance and near activity. That time the patching effect comes well. Some doctors feel that, and there are research also that in the school hours or during the duty hours, so that time patching works well. So what is the work of patching and how can patching helpful, and what is the duration of patching? There are different types of research and there are different perceptions for different practitioners. Some practitioner thinks that 4 to 6 hours is okay. Some practitioner thinks 12 hours is okay, all waking hours. Some practitioners think only during the school hours is okay. It depends from practitioner to practitioner. Again, there are a lot of research which tells about, and lot of research going on how much time patching can be good. So it actually depends upon the thing. But I think the normal working hours, when their patient or the children is doing an intense work of the patching, that time using the patching comes the best effect.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because the time when you want to give them patching therapy is not when they are sleeping. The eyes should be
Yes,
functioning.
exactly.
So school is definitely one of the thing which is good, or doing homework can also be one of the thing. When they are doing the homework, if they are shy, because again compliance becomes a problem. They might wear it to school, but they are not wearing it during the school hours. They might just go to school and remove the patch, the kids, and then come back, the patch is still on. But you, as parents or as practitioner, you think they are putting it for all the 6 hours or 4 hours. So it's again really important for you to explain to the parents and the patient himself or herself the importance of why we are asking you to do that. And the other aspect
Actually,
of it touch upon.
Actually, I wanted to do a research, but I was not. Just now, since you were talking of amblyopia, it came to my mind. What is the patient parents? Those who are amblyopia, what is the perception of the parents on amblyopia patching? I wanted to do a research. So anybody wants to do because of so much of my academic activity, I forgot this topic of doing a research. So any student is there who are doing masters, planning to do masters, or those who have research in their final year, they can do this type of research. You can go to different those who are already working, doing their internship in the hospital setup. They can do what is the perception of the parents, because amblyopia patching, more than the children, their parents are more involved. So what is the perception patching is according to the parents is very important, and you can do a very good research on this.
That's right. And in terms of hours of patching, how many hours should we
Exactly.
patch? I think the amblyopia treatment study group, the ATS studies, I think there are about, if I'm not mistaken, there are about 14 to 15 research papers which has come out from the ATS studies. I think those who are interested to look at, but basically they are talking about 2 to 3 hours with vigorous near training activities is good enough. That's what I have read. And if you are keen to read, please go ahead and read about amblyopia treatment study groups, and they have come out with a lot of research papers comparing different modalities of patching, different duration, different types of combination therapies, patching and vision therapy, patching without vision therapy. A lot of papers have been out, and I think if you are interested, you can go and look about that. One last question, which is kind of just come up on, in terms of maintaining our patients, in terms of maintaining follow-ups, are there any tips you would suggest? You did mention a reward system must be given to kids especially, and all that. That will help to keep the patients in the system and all. Any other specific tips which you would like to share on how should
See,
we?
encouraging the patient to do their job properly, I think will do 90% of the work. Encouraging the patient, not discouraging, because the patients, those who are coming, they will make a lot of mistakes. But dealing with it patiently, what I have seen in my practical experience, I will share that encouraging the patient, even if they are making mistakes, encourage them, tell them that you are doing an excellent work. If you can explain that properly, then you can do it very well.
That's right. Great. Okay. So I think we have taken almost all questions on the chat. Thank you very much, sir, for that session. Thank you, Pablo, sir, for giving us your time.
Thank you.
We do have session tomorrow. Tomorrow's session is on myopia management, basically on atropine, 6:30 evening Indian time and 9 p.m. late evening Malaysian time. And this would be covered by an ophthalmologist who is practicing atropine for myopia management. Thank you everyone for attending today's session. I will see you all again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, take care, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Fakhruddin.
Thank you, Pablo sir. Take care. Bye-bye.